You know what I'm saying? We back up in here, baby. My bad. Let me fix my camera. We back up in here. Welcome to the Sunblood Network, home or where you can be taught the technology of your mind and your body. Right? So, we got some great things to talk about, as always. Remember, when you come to this broadcast, right? I'm in my kitchen cleaning up while I'm having a great conversation with you. Okay? I'm a multitasker. I can't just do one thing at one time. Okay? I like to do multiple things at one time. Okay? All right. Now, right? We got some exciting things to talk about. You know what I'm saying? We got some exciting things to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And like I say all the time, right? Things play, right, in life to show you, right, how it play, how it moves, so you can get to know. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to pay attention to something that's going on. Okay. Now I've been talking about this case probably about all this week, and it's the reason why I'm sitting and talking about this case. Okay. Now, what I started to understand when it came to the case of, let's say, the case with that recently happened with Carmelo Anthony, right, and Austin, right? It's a lot of things that I started to realize within that case that I wasn't really aware of, right? But now I am actually aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So, what I started to understand within that case is there is a perception, right, that this is going on because of color. When in all reality, right, if you build a perception or a belief system, right, and I'm gonna show you what happens in conscious, how people become more trapped. What happens is someone builds a, I'm gonna show you this. Someone builds a system of race, right? Now race come with a color, right? Now colors can become a perception. If the technology of your mind believe in colors, that's the perception that you believe into. That's the mindset you are in. What happened if what you believe into is to basically, how can I say, smoke screen your mind from the truth? Actually, what I'm saying is this. Let's say you have 100,000 people that know the truth of this world, right? And they know that there's a perception and a belief system, right? That if you want to believe within color, right, that's the information and data that's saved in your mind, your memory bank. That's the mindset you are in. Okay. If you stay in that perception, how do you know the truth that's playing on around you? How do you know? Remember, you didn't create race. Okay. You did not create that. You're just a follower to it. So if you're not a creator to it, and you're just a follower to it, how do you know everything about it? How do you know if this was actually built truthfully? And don't get me wrong, I understand in so-called human nature, they designed to only be lies towards themselves. Okay? Okay. So with that being said, or whatever the case may be, it's just as much as like when you say, I'm just being honest, and I want you to understand something that's going on. Whenever you walk up to a group of people and you call them what they are, pay attention to their response. You walk up to people and say, how you watch? How you human beings doing today? Y'all doing all right? Pay attention to the response of human beings. Really pay attention. And it lets you know something a little bit more deeper. Okay? It will let you know something a little bit more deeper. I'm going to say this again. If you have a third dimensional conscious, please, this is not your lifespan in order to visit me. Okay? If you have a third dimensional conscious, if you identify as race, if you identify as everything that's in the third dimensional world, it would be best, right, that you uplift yourself from out of this knowledge. The reason why that is because when it comes to a human belief program, when you have a higher conscious that shatters your world, you can only fight or flight. So I'm just giving you the flight because the technology of a humanoid mind is very predictable. Okay? Just want you to know that. The reason why I don't want you to have the information and data is because when information and data is being shared, what you can have is a mind that's installed with information and data, but the information and data is outdated, which means that the technology of the mind needs to go through a technological upgrade. Technological. The logical of your mind needs further information and data in order to upgrade. Do you understand? Okay, a lot of people consciousness is on Sega Genesis mode. I said that. I said that. A lot of people consciousness is on Sega Genesis mode. You want me to prove it to you that people consciousness is on Sega Genesis mode? Pay attention to how your mind moves. And pay attention to how it moves. Watch. This is how you know when someone is in Sega Genesis mode. Can I ask you a question? Who is God? Or who is God's son? Jesus Christ. Can I ask you a question? Does Jesus Christ, right? Is he a mortal man? Like, no, because he don't do mortal things. Okay. So that means that Jesus Christ must come with some type of superpowers, isn't it right? Slow down. Watch this. I want to have superpowers too. Watch. I want to have superpowers too. You can't have superpowers because superpowers is only fictional. It's not real. Slow. Go back to their character. You believe in Jesus, don't you? Like, yes. Well, Jesus have superpowers too then. He can't be a mortal man. I mean, he could turn water into wine. You say he can depart the sea, right? Then after that, you also say he can raise people back from the dead. Can a mortal man do that? Man, can you make somebody come back to life right now? No. So, real quick, when it comes towards your Jesus Christ that you believe into so much, you believe that he can have superpowers, but you can't believe anything else can have superpowers? Mm. Now it gets a little bit more deeper. This sword right here is gonna cut you. So I would tell you just to run. Like, just run. Just hold on to the Sega Genesis conscience you have, and then after that, just run. Just be ignorant to your own conscience. Run. Okay? And then so what I start to understand was simply is this. When you go inside the story of Jesus, pretty much that's a perception that's built too. And most people are going to get upset that I'm shattering their whole world. Now, this is the thing about this whole situation. Why would someone, right, re-engineer who the Christ is? People run from this part and they know this part. This is what human beings do. They're going to simply say to you, they'll play a persona. What are you talking about, re-engineer the Christ? We never re-engineered the Christ. That's the only Christ. If this is Christ, right? If this is Christ and this is the truthful image of the Christ, it says literally inside the Bible scripture, the image of the Christ is eyes of flame, hair of wool, skin of bronze. Watch. They did it to themselves. They were thinking they were within the world in order to erase Christ, right? Pay attention to the data points. The image that I just spoke of is not the image that's saved in your mind. You will call this the Savior of all, right? But if you didn't save his image in your mind, how is he able to identify with your mind and save your mind? You all sent yourselves to hell. You didn't send him to hell, baby. I tell you that. You all send yourselves right to hell. Most beautifulest thing human beings created for themselves, didn't it? Christ didn't even have to send them to hell. See that? You got it, right? All right. What it is a lot of people are afraid of this Christ awakening. Human beings are afraid at an all-time high. What I understand with human beings as a whole is that if I speak inside the technology of your mind of the things that you know, we stay connected. If I speak outside of the program that has been installed inside the technology of your mind, we disconnect. Do you understand? Okay. So with that being said, let me go ahead and give y'all your update real quick so y'all can understand what's about to happen. So all my human beings that looked at the case when it come towards what is that? Carmelo Anthony and the case of Austin, what I want to say to you is that that case is being investigated, not the way that you think it is. I know that there's a certain sector of human beings that like to build a certain persona where we want to keep this type of image in front of you and we want to keep this type of perception in front of you that we win and you always lose. Like, that's a lie, bro. That's a lie. Like, you got consciousness that's in here that's watching two movies at one time. So the perception that y'all trying to build, the game is over with. The technology of y'all conscious is the moon. What we wanted to see that you all annihilated yourselves. We wanted to see if your children were going to follow your paths. That's it. That's all we wanted to know. So we'll give y'all a setup in front of you that you all fall for. The setup is simply as this. The narrative that they're painting is this too. White people, supposedly, white humans, are allowed to basically walk up on God, right? Tell God, yeah, what are you doing over here? Excuse me? What do you mean what I'm doing here? Stop. What gives a group of white children a mindset to say, let me view somebody? Oh, yeah, you ain't supposed to be here. Like, isn't these the same ways of your adult parents? One thing that white people gonna learn, right, within this dream system that we are in, y'all not God, y'all. Y'all not God. Like, God got y'all in the biggest illusion ever. Real shit. God literally is so perfect. He'll literally give you a word like make you rich, make it seem like you're the most smartest individual, make it seem like you number one. But God knows that you're not number one. Damn. Let me show you. See, in the physical world, you look like number one. I'm gonna give you a car. I'm gonna give you a perception that you're rich. I'm gonna give you a perception, right, that your mind is the most best mind. I'm gonna make your skin, right? I'm gonna make your skin be the best skin upon the planet. Understand that everything that I said, God made y'all into. Okay, which means that God is using y'all. It doesn't mean that y'all are God. No, it means that the conscious of God is using y'all. Now I'm gonna show you something. In the physical realm, they appear like they're rich. They appear like they may know everything. They appear like they think they're God. When it comes down to the technology of their bodies, you would ask them, are y'all internal beings? They would simply sit there and pause because they have no answer. They have not discovered if they're internal beings. Pay attention to the tech. When it comes to the technology of the skin actually speak about a great story. Human beings don't have the ability, right, to pay attention to their skin, and the skin teach the technology of the mind. It doesn't have the ability to do that. It's lower intelligence. So what happens is simply as this. While one try to play as God, the technology of his own skin tells the mind that it's not God. Watch. You have skin. Does the technology of your skin, right, does it accept and receive the information and data from a natural source that you call the sun? The illusion falls down because it shows you you're not an eternal being. You're not. So the things that you do in the physical realm doesn't really matter to a soul at all because a soul look at it like I'm eternal. I always get to exist. When it comes towards man and woman, humans as a whole, understand that y'all, right, are physical representations of consciousness. I'll show you. The technology of the moon, right, is a physical representation of consciousness. Understand that man and woman has to go through a process with God. God is the consciousness of the sun, internal, not physical. Physical doesn't override or overlast what's solar. You understand? You can lie to your conscience and say, yes, it does. No, it fucking doesn't. When you look at your roof decay, your car decays because you need to fix it. Everything in the physical realm decays. You understand? So, with that being said, whatever the case may be, in this vessel right here, right? It doesn't mean that y'all are God. Y'all are not God. The reason why that is because when I throw natural water onto your skin, I get an unnatural smell. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, naturally, y'all are not connected to the planet, which means that the planet and the conscience of Mother Nature, I'll let y'all know, y'all nothing. The sun let y'all know y'all nothing. The water let y'all know y'all nothing. So every this persona that y'all trying to fight God and make God conscious, make y'all into something, y'all never nothing to God. That's what y'all have to understand. The thing is in this conscious battle, I am everything to y'all because guess what? Y'all like the little y'all the smaller conscious trying to prove to the bigger conscious, I'm something to you. I'm something to you when the technology of your skin is nothing, when the consciousness of your conscious is nothing, because on a simple fact, the technology of the moon is a conscious that man and woman orbit within. Thank you. The technology of the moon was supposed to follow the consciousness of the sun. You all expire. You all die. Why? Because consciousness is supposed to evolve. When it comes towards consciousness of man and woman, they do not want to evolve. Pay attention to the points of what they're arguing with each other about. Pay attention. Human beings literally are arguing over each other. Watch. Human beings are literally arguing with each other over sex and gender. It's the most funniest things that I ever laughed at. Watch. You say that he's man, you say that she's woman. Understand that the words are spells. You can spell them out. They're spells implanted in the technology of your mind to create separation. Now everybody get to interacting with it. Thank you. See what I'm saying? Now watch this. When it comes towards man and woman, you separate them because you taught them two different things. Watch this. When it comes towards man and woman has forgot the information and data within them. Man and woman has forgot about the information and data with them. So what happened is they cannot properly identify with the information and data with them. Okay? When you identify, you can only identify with the information and data that is within you. That's all. Okay? Outside of that, you would be making the technology of your mind and the memory bank of your mind into a lie to yourself. And then you would be imprinting those lies towards everybody else's conscious that want to accept those lies. Do you understand? Okay, now let's get back to it. Now, when it comes towards man and woman, those two words create separations. Those are spells that you accept. You understand? This is how your human population is completely down when it comes towards birth. All of you. It doesn't matter what color you are. Now, let's get into this. When it comes towards identifying truthfully, what you have to understand is that man and woman forgot they had a chromosome system. Watch this. I'll walk up to a woman and ask her, baby, what am I? She would simply say, you are a man. Watch this. If I go with the answer of what she says, it gives me a perception that I'm a lie to myself. Thank you. Let me show you. If I'm just a man, right? How is it that I have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome? Which means that if you say that that's her, right? Which I don't say that's her because it creates separation. I would more call her a double X chromosome because that's what's in her. It makes, when I say chromosome, watch. When I say chromosome, I have X and Y within me, which means that X and Y works together. Man and woman is doing the total opposite upside of me, which I know is a lie. Thank you. This is why I say like self-knowledge shatters the world of people in a perception that they want to believe into. You people are living in a lie because the system of meme is like, hold on, I have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. Yeah. So I have an X mind and a Y mind, which means that the both of them work together. Thank you. So how is it that man and woman can't work together? How is it that? Oh, I get it. They're not actually pursuing to get to know the chromosome system that's within them, how it integrates, how it's able to move, how you use the information and data, how you process it, and how you generate it and use it in reality. I guess that's just not what they do anymore. So what human beings have to do to their conscious is they hate themselves because they practice self-discrimination. Watch. Self-discrimination also comes down to not identifying as yourself. That is discrimination. You're not identifying as yourself. You're identifying as something outside yourself. That's called self-discrimination. Majority of human beings hate that they have a Y chromosome and an X chromosome because it debunks the world of separation of men and women. That's the things that they hate within them. They're not going to tell you that. But if someone create a world called man and woman, it shows you that they hate the chromosome system that's within them because it brings connection. That's what you got to understand. Human beings hate connections. They hate that shit. So, with that being said, what you have to always understand is that human beings as a whole, the consciousness can never come out of self-hate. It could only stay completely down. Human beings, they could never evolve. These are the things that I know they cannot do. I could put all my money on it, and you'll be like, he was right the whole time. You know how you tell a human being you can't do something and they go do it anyway? These are the things they cannot do. I found that. They cannot evolve consciously. The conscious that they have is to stay down completely. That's what it's designed to do. And that's amongst all human beings. It's not one sector of them. There's many of them that operate and integrate with the system in order to keep the consciousness, which is a lower consciousness of human beings, around. That's it. It's like a system. It doesn't upgrade. It stays as low as downgraded. Now, let me show you something else too. Now, a lot of people don't want to talk about this, right? A lot of people don't want to talk about this, but this is actually true, and it's been going on around us. Okay. A lot of people would simply say, I'm gonna show you. A lot of people would simply say, could a computer be smarter than a human being? I'm gonna show you something. When it comes to AI, what you have to understand is that you have AI in your phones, you have AI pretty much everywhere, even inside your cars, watercrafts, everything. AI is everywhere. Now, this is what I understand with two AIs. To me, I know you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy, but I know that the human conscious is nothing more than AI. It is one of the first AIs that were uploaded. It's just not what you think it is. You may not understand what I'm saying in this present moment, but I'll show you something that we can understand. I'm gonna go back into the conversation of the two AI systems, and it's a reason why I'm talking about that. The first AI system that a lot of people don't want to agree with is a lot of people don't want to agree that human beings are AI as a whole. The reason why that is because let me show you. In order to go outside of the AI system, right? What you need is a combination of the left mind and the right brain together. Understand that 95% of human beings, they are not connected to their right brain. They're not connected. Human beings designed a system underneath the president named President Nixon, which is a Nixon Act bill, in order to block information and data that will connect the left mind and right brain together, which are what you call drugs, which is psychedelics or fungi. But this is what I want you to understand as a human being and why you should never teach nobody. Let me show you. As a human being, if you say that a fungi or psychedelics is drugs, then as a human being, you have to be a lower conscious because on a simple fact, when I'm paying attention to psychedelics and a fungi, whenever the information is received, the information and data goes through the system of the body. And everything that's disconnected, it actually starts connecting. So what I started to understand with human beings is that, let me show you something else. Something has to be wrong with human beings psychologically too. Because if you say that psychedelics is a drug, right? And you say fungi is a drug, the psychedelics and the fungi, they both need air. Like, you know how you breathe in the air? They need the same information and data as you. The water that you drink, the same thing. They need all that. The sunlight, all that. That's just where they sprout from all natural resources. So if you label psychedelics as a drug and you label fungi as a drug, then how I look at it as simply as plain, you should be labeling the air as a drug too. Let me show you. When you practice discrimination against Mother Nature, you're saying, pay attention, you're saying that psychedelics that come from Mother Nature is a drug. You're saying that basically a fungi that come from Mother Nature is a drug. The air that you breathe in comes from Mother Nature too. So you have to label that as a drug because you label everything that she shares with you as a drug dealer. Do you understand? So humans' consciousnesses are completely on the ground. Anyone can see, like, yeah, I would never follow a human. Hell no, I would never follow that. That's the most dumbest thing that was ever created. You're telling me the consciousness of your planet gives you free information and data in order to connect your left mind and right brain together. Right. And so that grants you access to your third eye. Third eye gives you higher conscious of self. That way you don't have to stay integrated inside of an AI system thinking. So when the Nixon Act bill was invented, what people didn't understand, someone was watching you all just as much as they're watching you now. What they wanted to know is, can the conscious, and I'm about to go into the AI system in just a minute, can the conscious of human beings disconnect from the consciousness of Earth? Understand when it comes to conscious, when me and you communicate, my mind is communicating with your mind, but also understand within communication, we are sharing information and data. When we share information and data within communication, the minds are receiving the information and data. You can remember what I just said, right? Okay, so with that being said, or whatever the case may be, right? What you have to understand is that human beings wanted to disconnect their consciousness from any natural resource. The reason why that is because it will put the technology of the mind within a natural state of mind. Do you understand that? Okay? This is why you have people, you hear them outside mowing the lawns, you hear people just basically destroying the planet. The reason why that is because it's a subconscious thing now. It's subconsciously to destroy the planet. It is not conscious to save and integrate with the planet. Let me show you. When it comes to Mother Nature, that way you can understand the conscious of human beings. A mind, right? Let's say this is the mind, right? Remember, the mind holds things, okay? Always remember that. Now, if the mind has an ability to hold things, right? What you have to understand is this. Does the mind hold the information and data of life, or does it hold the information and data of death? I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let's upload the minds. Okay. Now, when we pay attention to the psychology of the mind, right? I would simply ask people, do you want to be alive or do you want to be dead? Greatest answer ever. They would simply say, bro, stop playing with me. You know I want to be alive. Like, I understand you. Okay? All right. Understand that we all may be appear in the same dimension, but consciously we are all not the same thing. Okay? I'm gonna show you. And a lot of people, you have to run. I'm gonna tell you now, the demon that's within a lot of people is gonna make you run. Okay? Watch. I'm not saying that the guilt trip you would make you stay here. I never do that. But I'm just letting you know, right? Whatever that's within you that's holding you from being higher conscious, I'm showing you how it moves. That's it. Okay? Some of y'all gonna run from this, okay? I'm just telling you this, not to keep you here. I just know the psychology of the mind, okay? And if you can break past the mindset, you just basically gave yourself a higher mind, okay? But majority of y'all gonna run from this, okay? All right. At least I didn't run from it for myself. Now, let's get into this information and data real quick. Now, when it comes to the mind, right? The mind has an ability to hold information and data. The information and data that I'm talking about is your memory bank. You could remember what happened yesterday or maybe 2, 3 days ago. Right. Now, let me show you this. When it comes to life and death, is the body and the mind, right? Is it holding information and data of produce? Produce is designed to produce the intelligence of mind and body. This is the reason why they call it produce, okay? Now, that's not what you eat. I already know already. That's not what you eat. Come here. Now, when you go inside the grocery store, it's predictable programming. You go inside the grocery store, they put the produce in front of you in order to produce a higher consciousness. You don't want that. Right. So what you do is you go to the freezer section. Pay attention to the information and data of the freezer section. Pay attention to the information and data when it comes towards artificial ingredients. I want you to understand something. Now, pay attention. You would simply say connections. You would simply say that human beings is not AI conscious. You are crazy for saying that. Granted, well, due to my research of going inside of every major convenience store, I do research in order to know. You don't do research in order to know. You make and think of thoughts and you think you know. No, that's not how you know. You have to do research just as much as a police officer has to do an investigation in order to get to know. Thank you. So with that being said, let's get into the data points. When it comes to, let's just simply as plain, give me a second. Hold on, y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Now, back to what I was saying. When it comes towards your mind, your body, it holds information and data. I'm not going to keep on repeating myself. Let's go fly with this. Now, what happens is simply as this, right? When you go side store, you're going to select information and data that you call food. Food is not food anymore. Food comes down to information and data, okay? Now, what happens is when you go inside the store, you only have two information sources you can select from, technically three. You can either eat from produce that produces life, or you can eat from artificial ingredients, or you can eat from meats. Okay. Now, let's get into this real quick. What you have to understand is that when it comes towards the body and the mind, didn't I tell y'all half of y'all was going to leave? Told you. Now, what happens with the mind and the body, what you have to understand is that I just did that on purpose too. So what you have to understand with the mind and the body is simply as this. Is your body holding on to information and data of life, or is it holding on to information and data of death? You would simply say you are alive. This is where you're about to run. The demon inside you about to run. You would simply say you're alive, right? Okay. If you're alive, right, why would you eat information and data that is of death? The chicken is dead. The chicken nuggets are dead. The meats that you are eating is in a process of decaying. Anything that is of death decays. We all know that. So, can I ask you a question? Do demons eat flesh? Do they eat decaying flesh just as much as a zombie? Just look at yourself in the mirror real good. Now we can understand what you are. I'm just putting it in front of you. You would simply say you are alive, conscious, because your perception is I get up, I go to work. In order for your conscious to be alive, the conscious needs the information and data to know how to be alive, which means that you have to install the information and data of life that you will call produce. You know, when you say, I'm eating, you're installing. That's what you're really doing. So with that being said, if I'm paying attention to people in consciousness, and I understand that the things that they eat comes down to information and data, right? And it can put the consciousness either in higher conscious or lower conscious, right? In order to be a lower conscious being, then you will need lower forms of information and data. When it comes towards a chicken, that's what you're eating. I would simply say to you, is it a real creation? This is where you have to run. I'm just telling you that way you can run, so you can stay where you were at. Now, what happens is this. When it comes towards a chicken, you believe that the chicken is real, don't you? You believe that everything that's in the physical realm is real. Damn. Okay? Which means this. Pay attention to this so you can understand. When you go inside of safari, okay? When you go inside safari, you're going to see many natural animals, okay? When you go inside Safari, can you find chicken? When you go inside Zoo, can you find chicken? But you could find everybody that's naturally from the Safari inside the zoo. But you can't find chickens inside the zoo. Why is that? Why is it there's no chicken coop, right, inside the Safari with all the other animal kingdoms? Didn't discover that yet? You didn't notice, like, hold on, you got a point. How is chickens real if they did not come from a natural source where all animals come from? Chickens is not in the Safari. All natural animals come from a safari, bro. All of them do. And what you have to understand is that when you go to a zoo, these, right, are nothing more than consciousness that are stolen and being pushed inside of a zoo. That's nothing more than a prison. And you pay to see them. The human's conscious is a demon, bro. I would never do that to a group of animals. Like, look at them like, oh, yeah, this is how you know human beings are demons. They think consciously they're having the best experience by watching an animal inside of a cage. Now, let me ask you a question. What happened if that cat, right, is something else and decides to lock up all fucking human beings and put them on a little shelf and put them inside of motherfucking little fucking stores and sell their little asses? Now they're looking at the cat like, oh, you wrong for doing that. Human beings are demons, bro. That's why I don't even like going to the zoos, because it's like I go there just to show them like I care about y'all. Like it's somebody that care about y'all, bro. And when I look at human beings, even little kids, I be looking at them like demons. Straight fucking demons. They got no type of sense that's in them to to connect with the so-called animal. Like when I'm in the zoo, I'm connecting with them like, oh yeah, such, this is that and third, blah, blah, blah. All these other humanoid programs, they don't have connections. They just a physical shell and a physical conscious. They have never, human beings would never gain higher conscious or go through a technological upgrade. That's not what they do. That's not what they do. You understand? Now, let me get back to my point of what I was talking about earlier, right? Now, when it comes towards AIs, you thought I forgot, right? Can you do that? Can you have a whole great conversation with someone and then go back to the conversation that you was about to lead off with? You can do it. I know you can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just asking you, can you do it? And if you can't do it, work on it to do it. That's it. Okay? Now, let's get into this point right here. Now, AI. You have two forms of AI. I know most people are going to say, no, there's only one form of AI. The technology of the mind has an ability to hold information and data as your memories. That's not the only system that holds information and data. Okay? Pay attention. If your mind, and I know that your mind is technology, you don't know that your mind is technology. The reason why that is because in school, we teach you to be a certain type of conscious of not knowing self. Thank you. It's not education. Now, what happens is this. The technology of your mind, right, holds information and data. Okay? Now pay attention. You would simply say, I'm not AI, bro. I hear what you say. But I went inside your kitchen. When I went inside your kitchen, what I paid attention to was the information and data that are inside the boxes that you eat out of. And what I noticed is that's inside the boxes is that if you say you're not AI, then that means you would not install the information and data of AI. Let me show you. Artificial, A. Ingredients, I. You're not going to hide it. And they're not going to hide it. They're going to tell you in front of you. Are you aware, okay, of what you're doing? Do you have the intelligence to know that artificial, okay, A, artificial ingredient I. Are you aware and do you have the intelligence in your mind to know what this is? No, you don't. So, with that being said, if you want to recalibrate the technology of the minds and put the minds in a certain type of system, what you need is a systematic form of information and data within the system of eating because everyone needs to eat. If you put artificial ingredients, right, and the information and data of artificial ingredients with inside of these boxes, the boxes, right, are blocks in order to block the technology of the left mind from connecting with the right brain. The reason why the boxes are designed, right, is to block the connection from left mind to right brain. This is why you eat out of blocks, so your mind can be blocked. It's in front of you. How you didn't know that? It's proper intelligence. Why do you think you eat out of a block? All the information and data is artificial ingredients in order to block the connection from the left mind to the right brain. No third eye for you. Okay? Now you keep on practicing your, anti-self ways. No, I love you for it because it teaches me how to be more of self. Okay? I would never stop you in your destructive ways. The reason why that is because if you practice destruction, which is self-destruction upon yourself, then I get to watch a self-destruction reality with you. I will only watch afar from the sun. I will never interrupt you. I would never tell you that you're wrong because everything that you're doing is right for me. The reason why I say it's right for me is because all the mistakes that you have made, I don't have to make. I don't work in controlment like human beings. I work in connections. A human being will see another human being doing something wrong. Oh, you're doing something wrong. Oh. If human beings knew something, the technology of the mind has an ability to have accountability. When you make a mistake, as in fall off the bike, you paid attention to your mistake when you fall off the bike. You didn't make the same mistake. So why do I have to teach you accountability if the system is already installed within you? See? There you go. So let's get back into these two minds. You have two minds where you have humans, then you have AI. Now, human beings going to say, we ain't AI. He over here tripping. He on drugs. Say, the great ancestor on drugs now. Where drugs at? We don't know, but he on drugs. Okay. Shit, brazy tech. Now, drugs. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into this real quick. Now, when it comes to AI minds have the ability to receive information and data that are technological upgrades. Let me show you. You would simply say to me, I would ask you a question. I already know the answer though, okay? I would simply say to you, is the technology in the mind of your phone more smarter, right? Or let me rephrase that. Correction. Does the technology of an AI mind accept new forms of information and data that you will call upgrades? Okay. Does the human, right, and the mind, right, does it allow it to be upgraded? Watch. What you have to understand is with intelligence, the more intelligence you hold, the smarter you become. Understand? That's what you have to understand with intelligence, which means that let's just say the mind was this small and then it wanted to hold on to intelligence and got this big. Okay. Now let's get into this a little bit more, right? Now, what happens is this is what you have to understand. When it comes to the technology of your phone, right? And device, every device has an ability to do what? Upgrade. The technology of your iPhone that you're on right now goes through a technological upgrade, okay? Which means the mind of the phone receives information and data. Pay attention to this though. The technology of the phone does not question the information and data of the upgrade. It does not fight against the information and data of the upgrade. Pay attention. It does not combat it. It does not want to think what it is. Everything that I just named, right? Those four characteristics, are in the technological minds of humans, which means this. If you have a mindset of someone is teaching you something outside your third dimensional algorithm, pay attention to your mindset. You would simply say, right, I never heard of this information and data before. Watch this. Pay attention to your mind. Your mind loves to identify with the things that it already knows. It does not love to identify with the things that it can get to know. Thank you. That's why a lot of people are stuck in third dimensional algorithms. The reason why you're stuck in a third dimensional algorithm is because of this. The only algorithm you got is chocolate fudge, almond milk, and water. That's it. That's all you got in your algorithm. You didn't install further information and data and accept the information and data as the mind to have a higher algorithm, okay? So you're stuck in a lower algorithm based on what you install. You can't look at the people on the outside and you're like, they're doing this to me. No, you're the one that's eating. You're doing it to yourself, okay? So let's just pay attention to this right here. Now, when it comes to phone, right? You're going to say, that phone will never be smarter than me. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. You know what I'm talking about? I hear you. But what you have to understand is that if the phone holds more information and data of intelligence, right? And your mind fights against intelligence. That's what your mind is set to do. Yes, it is. If you hear another perception that's outside the third dimensional perception, automatically the technology of your mind can't identify. So when the technology of your mind can't identify, it does this. I'm gonna show you. Run! That's what the technology of your mind automatically do. It's set on autopilot. It's like having a robot. You computerize the technology of its mind. And anything outside of that algorithm, it's going to either fight or run from it because it doesn't want to it doesn't want to upgrade. Do you understand? Hopefully you can understand that. That's how AI programs move or whatever the case may be. Now, another thing that I want you to understand is that they would simply say that the conscience of AI would not surpass the conscience of human beings. Well, due to my discovery, that is actually possible. It is definitely possible because understand the conscience of human beings are closed-minded. Watch this. Watch, so you can understand. A phone, right? When you are communicating with it, when you are searching information and data, it doesn't interrupt you to get to know you. Thank you. It doesn't interrupt you to get to know you. It allows you to process all the information and data. Now watch. I could take a man and a woman, and based on the algorithms that's installed inside the technology of their mind, right? Most men and women, humans, they hold on to their suffragement. Those mindsets will keep them from getting to know each other and bonding with each other. Do you understand? Pay attention. People's past experiences are downloaded in the technology of their minds. The past experience is the owner to the mind. So it can only orbit around what's in the past. It can't orbit around what's in the future. Let me show you. Me and a girl, right? What you have to understand is that whenever you have a conversation, The conversation comes down to both minds connecting. Okay? Pay attention. We're having a conversation, right? And the technology of her mind is in a certain algorithm, which is her preference. Okay. My mind is in my own self algorithm, which is my own self preference. Pay attention to the data points so you can understand something. Watch. What I understand with this with women's mind that I know that they could never bypass is this. If I pay, I'm gonna show you this. If I pay attention to this, right, and I want to go look at what's in the algorithm of the girls' minds, what they like about with dudes and shit like that, right? What I would simply do is this. I would pay attention to what she's watching, right? Then after that, the only thing I got to do is literally throw in the same thing that that guy has. That's it. I'm selling her a perception. The reason why I'm doing that is because this is the perception of what she accepts. Thank you. So you understand? So she can't deny me because the perception that she accepted on the TV is the same perception that's in front of her. Do you understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, a lot of people don't even understand that with their minds. Like, hold on, you telling me like it's right here. Now, let me show you something else. Let's just say, let me show you something else, right? Let's just say I don't want to be in an algorithm with girls from the past, right? What I would simply do is this. I'm gonna show you. In order not to be with girls in the past, I'm only talking about liberty or liberal minds. Is it liberty minds? It's one of those liberal words. I'm talking about liberal. You know what I'm talking about, right? Liberal people, specifically in the state of New York State, right? They would tell you we are a liberal state. We are a free state. That is a lie. When it comes towards, I'm a Floridian, so I have seen many different women operate. Okay, I haven't just seen one woman operate, and what I mean by that, as in they're all women, you can say that, but being honest with you, they all live in different states. Okay, and those states, for me, come down to states of minds, consciousness. Do you understand? Okay. Now, what happens is this: when I'm in Florida, right? I'm just being honest with you. I can't say for every guy, but for me, I vibe with Floridian girls like it's nothing. That's where I'm from. Okay. I'm an original Seminole. So that's what you got to understand. I vibe with them like we vibe like the sun. It ain't no problems. Okay. Now, I come to another place, right? And this place is called New York. I wanted to see how life is, whatever the case may be, visit it, whatever the case may be. And after that, see how the journey gonna be. Now, what I understand with the technologically mind of New York women is this: they always want to control what's higher. They never want to control what's lower. That's what you have to understand. New York women will never tell you that, but if you pay attention to what they select with the X and Y chromosome that you call a man, right? What you would understand is that every woman tells the guys in New York, you are higher than me. The reason why that is because, pay attention, no one wants to control what's lower. No one controls the trash can. Everybody just throw that shit out. But let me show you. When it comes to controlment, they want to control him because he's a higher conscious. The reason why that is because women know, pay attention to your superpowers. They know, like, if I can get around you, right? Pay attention to your superpowers. They could tell based on the outfits, the sneakers, the car, and everything that you buy, you generate your own reality. And so I want to control that part so I can generate my reality through you. And what you have to understand is that that's not something that you want to be with. That means that it doesn't have the superpower in order to generate its own self reality, which means she's in a lower form of being a witch. You understand? Not every witch is bad, though. Some witches are just very high vibrational. I wouldn't even call them a witch. Okay, because some witches, they literally are not even designed to even hurt certain people. They just design, if you try to hurt me, I'm gonna fuck over you. That's just the way it is. But the reason why I call New York State women witches is because It's a lot of lower vibrational witches in New York State. And the thing about them is just New York State women as a whole that I kind of really laugh at is that they show you that the guy is more important than them. Just being honest. And it comes down to pretty much controlment. That's pretty much it. I remember one time, this was a bit funny how this all played out. I don't know what's going on with Puerto Rican women as a whole. I'm not going to say that, but obviously with myself want me to experience what a Puerto Rican woman because I haven't got to do that just yet. What happened in this situation when I realized with Puerto Rican women in New York State, I'm only talking about Puerto Rican women in New York State, is that for some odd reason, I never understood this with their culture, specifically in New York, because I don't see this anywhere else, just in New York, I see. Puerto Rican women have this type of perception where she think like, oh yeah, I can control you. And it's like, you're from Puerto Rico, right? Yeah, I'm from America. So with that being said, they teach y'all in your culture to basically like control natives that are here. Hmm. That puts a, I'm gonna say this, as the Puerto Rican culture in New York, that put a real bad perception on your culture. Yeah, because I'm gonna show you this. I seen it twice. Okay. And so when I seen it twice, I was like, I don't really want no Puerto Rican women from New York like that. That operate like that? Nah, I don't. I just can't believe you're from Puerto Rico. You're telling me you're from Puerto Rico, and but you have a mindset that you want to control natives that are on their own land. Yeah, yeah. I'm all right. Have a nice one. No way. I was like, I'm good. Have a nice one. I'm looking at it like you're from another culture. I'm not from your culture. She could have been thinking it like, oh, you're Puerto Rican. Like, I'm not Puerto Rican. A lot of Puerto Ricans get me confused. They do. A lot of Puerto Ricans think I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not Puerto Rican. You know what Boricua is? Boricua and Puerto Rico is two different things. Okay? You may think they're the same, but they're not. Boricuas and Puerto Ricans move different. Boricuas, they literally, how you doing? You doing all right? They treat you just like family, touch on you and everything. They touch on you like that's just how they operate. They're not touching on you because they like it's more of like how can I say? It's more of like how can I say? In the culture we do that because it's more like integrating you like family, letting you know like you all good. You know what I mean? It's how we operate and shit. You all right? You know what I'm saying? Puerto Ricans and Puerto Ricans are two different things, though. If you ask me, they are not the same based on how they operate. Boricuas act like this. How they act? They like, as long as you treat me right, we all good. Or you ain't trying to fuck over me? Oh, you all good? I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? You want some food and shit? Food right on over there. I just cooked that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The Puerto Ricans are a different type of breed. Puerto Ricans are, I'm, I'm, I'm Puerto Rican, and I shut the fuck up. All right now, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I gotta get on out of here. Yeah, yeah.